Friday, 6 o'clock. Call the February 19th, 2024 Diamond Head Property Owners Association Open Board Meeting to order. We'll start with the roll call.
Ex officio Morehouse, Director Ramirez, Director Pino,
Present.
Director Nutty,
Here.
Director Lee,
Present.
Director LaFontaine,
Here.
Director Blackwood,
Here.
Secretary Tozan here, Treasurer James, Vice President Sislo,
Present.
President Becker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item is approval of minutes of the January 15th meeting.
As you see by the note, it was approved by email January 23rd.
Okay. Does anyone want to amend the agenda for tonight? Having no one, I'll ask for a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I move we approve.
I'll second.
Vice President Sislo and Secretary Tozan. The President's report is next. We've just completed a successful Mardi Gras ball season. Chef Ricky has now had time to put together his own staff, and I think they've really hit their stride in the kitchen. With the addition of the tilt skillet, which allows for preparation of larger quantities of main dishes at one time, under Chris Rahm's direction and the help of the entire club staff, they were able to handle the balls and sometimes multiple events on the same day or night during the busy Mardi Gras season. As you may be aware, we're in the process of instituting a credit card fee of 3%. Last year, the POA paid $115,000 to the vendors in credit card fees. More and more companies are instituting this fee to cover costs, including a good number of the Gulf Coast restaurants. To do this, you have to notify your credit card vendors you intend to charge the fee. You're then limited to what your costs are. You have to post the fact that you are charging your patrons, and you're not supposed to charge for debit card or naturally cash purchases. Some places ignore the stipulation debit card, the concerning debit transactions, and charge for all cards, but we intend to follow the letter and spirit of the requirements. We are currently waiting for Toast, the system we use in the club, to finish developing the program to differentiate between a debit and credit transaction to initiate the charge, which when instituted will only enable us to counteract the fees charged to us by the credit card companies. On the other side of the coin, this board instituted an admission fee for buyers of properties not in good standing to join the Property Owners Association. That fee was the lesser of dues money in arrears, or a max of $2,500. After receiving feedback from prospective new members, the fee has been reduced by this board to the amount of the arrears or the amount of a maximum of 1 year's dues paid in advance, which would be the fee. You still would have to pay dues. We're also going to offer waiving the 1 year fees if the new homeowner is willing to pledge their property to paying dues on a forward basis. That option is waiting for our legal staff to prepare the needed documentation. The Property Owners Association currently has a fairly large inventory of lots for sale also. Going forward, those will be sold at what we feel are very reasonable prices, with an agreement to pay dues along with the sale. In the not-too-distant past, when we encountered a whole year's average rainfall in less than half a year, we uncovered some inherent drainage problems on our golf courses. We enlisted the help of a golf course architecture company out of the New Orleans area to give us advice and pricing to correct some of the worst areas. The golf course architect turned out to be a disciple of famed golf course architect Earl Stone, who had a large hand in designing our courses. Mr. Stone had provided the golf course architect the reference he required to get his golf course architect's license. He toured some of the problem areas with Greg Abadie, Dan Heyman, Ronnie James, and myself. Ultimately, we determined our superintendent, Dan Heyman, could, using the architect's suggestions, rectify the worst of the problem areas at a considerable cost savings, and a number of the projects have been completed with good results. A comment provided by the architect during our review was that some of our sand traps were overly large and had over time developed slopes that hindered play and caused excessive labor and materials to maintain them. Over the years, the playability of the 8th hole on our Cardinal course has been affected by two factors: the growth of the large live oak tree on the left side of the driving area, which grew mostly away from the woods and into the fairway because of available sunlight, and the condition of the sand traps. As the golf course architect suggested, recently our same group, sans the architect, assessed the reasonable options available to us and decided to alter the right trap to increase playability, enhance drainage, and lessen the need for bunker maintenance. Since the project fell within my discretionary limit, I approve the work. Dan Heyman and his staff have completed the reshaping and today started to lay sod and will place sand in the newly designed trap. The work has been admired by almost all of our golfing members, and so tonight we are voting on a resolution to do the same thing to the left side trap. I could have approved it without a vote, but thought having the entire board vote on the project at an open meeting was more forthcoming to the membership. That completes my report. Thank you for listening. Next item is the general manager's report. Greg?
Committee reports, anything?
Committee reports. Wow, okay. It's okay.
Threw me a curveball there. My report will be similar to previous reports, but it's specific to the month of January 2024. The first item is the financial data that we have reported for the month of January. It also happens to be year to date. So you look at one set of numbers. Probably the two departments that have the largest variance are the golf course, golf shop operation, and the food and beverage operation. We did cover expenses. We show a net income of a little over 700,000. We were projecting 21,000, close to 22,000 profit. I'm going to ask Darian to pull up 2023 January numbers and see how it compares, and this may be an aggressive budget number, but we'll get to the bottom of
Okay.
why the variance. The next information that we've provided is a summary of POA member dues. Trying to track the number of subscribers who are paying the annual fee and the monthly fee. And it shows that we're 29 fewer people paying in comparison to year 2023, which is kind of interesting on the annual. And on the monthly, we have 32 fewer people. So I think overall that's encouraging. We certainly want all property owners to subscribe to POA membership, pay the dues, protect the amenities that they all have access to once they're in good standing. And more importantly, it protects their property values, and it shows that they're doing the right thing for their neighbors as well. So we want to acknowledge all who are participating and paying their annual dues or monthly dues, are in good standing, and ask that they encourage their neighbors to do the same. The next item on the list of reports deals with the capital expenditures. This report needs to be fine-tuned. I kind of put it together late in the day, before cocktail hour, but late in the day. And it's broken down in 2024 items, some of which the board has granted authorization to proceed, and some are proceeding. Others are forthcoming. We'll discuss it with committees first and get a reaction from the committee and let the committee present it to the board for approval. And the future items deal with what we anticipate over time. We don't know if it'll be next year or 4 years from now, but there's items that will need some attention. The reports go on to cover collections, and there's multiple sheets that deal with collections. We had a disappointing session at Justice Court, this most recent one, where the judge dismissed the cases and left us with the need to appeal his judgment. In the group of sheets that I have for collections, you'll see there's 25 cases that are scheduled to go before Justice Court March 14th, and it happens to be the same judge, and we'll talk about it in a little more detail as to whether or not we should try and reschedule that hearing or not. And I thought you all might enjoy seeing his order of dismissal, where it says, expulsion and loss of amenities. Non-payment of dues is expulsion and loss of access to the amenities. So that was his conclusion on the cases that were brought forth. Apparently he didn't have much patience for the presentation or give us a chance to go into any detail. The next report is the amenity use statistics and some revenue information, in particular as it relates to golf. It's interesting to me, the average dollar fee paid per guest, based on my calculations, is a little over $32 with a budget amount of $50. I've asked Chris to look into that to make sure that it's golf fees and cart fees and it's being tallied properly. But that was kind of a glaring
It doesn't make sense.
variance that caught my eye. Then we get into the summary of food and beverage sales by department, by day. And this is the first month of the year. The banquet and ball season was very successful, as President Becker disclosed, and I don't know if it's good for us to have Mardi Gras early in the year or later in the year, but it's sure nice to have it. And see all the fancy gear and clothing that everybody wears. Overtime report by department. We'll continue to submit that on a monthly basis and have the department managers review it and see where we can tighten it up. And the last sheet is a summary sheet of action plans for the Futures Committee to discuss and consider. So we're off to a pretty slow start for the year, but we've been down in matches before and come back and won the match, so we'll see if we can press and move forward.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone have any questions? No. I'm sorry. Oh, you can't speak right now, ma'am. I'm sorry, but it's,
Explain. There you go.
we now have the portion of the meeting where POA members' comments on agenda items takes place. Oh, I'm sorry, the committee reports were, yep. Committee reports, Director Pino.
The Marina Airport Committee met earlier this month, talked about a number of things, 3 things of note for this meeting. Number 1, the harbor master reports that the available slips for rental to members are nearly 100% rented out, which is a good thing, optimizing the use of the marina. Number 2, the city of Diamond Head is conducting dredging of Paradise Bayou, which is the bayou that runs in front of the marina in the whole south side. And that should be done, should be starting soon, very soon this spring, which will, of course, result in better depths for boaters coming and going from the marina. And we hope, the harbor master hopes that we're going to get, at the end of the day, more accurate canal depths that we can report to boaters and make that information available to everybody who needs it. Number 3, both the marina and the airport reported that they have some potholes that need to be addressed, and they're going to look into what exactly is needed and give a report back to the committee, and the committee will report back to this body. And kind of related to that is the airport manager has expressed a desire to improve the appearance of the entranceway to the airport, and he's going to prepare a report and a proposal for us to consider as well.
Thank you. Director Lee?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Director Nutting?
I defer.
Director LaFontaine?
The House Committee met on Thursday, February 1st, 2024. We discussed the architectural drawings were reviewed by the committee, and facilities are presently obtaining permits and project bids to be brought before the board here. The new food and beverage menus were reviewed and approved, and they are planned to be rolled out in early March. As you had said, the Mardi Gras season in the ballroom has been a big success, and bookings for the calendar year are filling up quickly. And I would like to congratulate Club Manager Chris Rahm, Chef Rick Harron, Special Events Coordinator Michaela Capps, and their staff for an amazing job during the Mardi Gras season. Did a great job. That's all.
Secretary Tozan?
Nothing at this time.
Vice President Sislo?
The Recreation Committee did not meet.
Okay. And Director Blackwood?
Yes, the administration committee did meet on January 31st. Items for discussion was the accounts receivable, those past due amounts, and a path forward to collect those. We also went over the current bank balances and financial reporting. We have an audit that's out for the 2-year period that should be completed soon. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now we correctly come to the part of the meeting where members are welcome to speak on agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on an agenda item?
Sharon wanted to address something about the general manager's report, so I didn't know if that fell under regular agenda or not.
It's on the agenda, so sure. Ma'am, you want to come up to the podium?
First, let me apologize, I'm new to the POA.
Not a problem.
That's okay.
I just moved here to Diamond Head August 4th, and I absolutely love it. And
Welcome.
I'm an annual dues payer,
Welcome to be here.
and I'd love to be on a committee. So, this is my question. When this gentleman was talking about the judge dismissed the cases, and I see a bunch of stuff on the Diamond Head Facebook page and all the other stuff where
Ma'am.
people are fussing.
Would you,
I'm sorry.
is the microphone on?
It
Would
may
you
not even
get a
be
little
on.
Closer to it. They can't hear you in the back. Is there green light?
I can't.
Just
Yes, it's on. Okay. So this is my question.
Okay.
This gentleman said that y'all currently have 25 cases before the same judge. And I'm an accountant, so that's why I'm just thinking numbers. Is it cost effective to continue to pursue that? Or is it,
Okay.
and that's, all I just want to know, is it cost effective?
In justice court, well, since our attorney just walked in the door, Miles, we'll ask him to appropriately address that issue. Can you step up? Did you hear the question?
I would like to know if it's cost effective to continue to, I'm a yearly paying dues member, love it here at POA, but I'm just wondering, is it cost effective to continue to pursue the dues?
The cases that were dismissed in the last,
Yes.
Okay, well, so,
And to bring these other 25 to the judge that just dismissed the others.
okay. So without getting into too much strategy, because that's some, I think, what we're gonna talk about in executive session, the 4 cases that he dismissed, he did that with 5 other cases, February of 2022. We appealed those 5 cases. The court overruled him on all 5 on the exact same issue. I did not expect that he was going to do that this time because we have had a couple of, the assignment of judges is random. And so we were in front of him a couple of times after the last appeal 2 years ago. And he wasn't crazy about it, but he gave us our judgments. We haven't been in front of him in particular in a while. We have been drawing one of the other judges more. And so I expected when he brought it up this time, it would be a similar, that he would grumble a little bit about it, and then I would remind him that we've already appealed this. He's already been overruled, and the Mississippi Supreme Court's already ruled on this issue many years ago. And so if it was something that was happening all the time, I would probably agree with you, but it's not really my call. That's a business decision by the board to make, not a legal question. But so this was really a bit unexpected, and so we're going to appeal these 4. We're actually going to probably ask to continue the cases that are set for March, since they're in front of the same judge with the same issue, and I'll be filing a motion to continue those tomorrow. I don't know what he will do with it. I would hope that he would just grant it pending the resolution of the appeal of the other 4. But yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Miles. Just to clarify for the people who are listening, we are only filing cases against people who owed us money before their 50-year expiration term came. We are not going to court trying to collect money from people, assuming that we can do that until the other cases are considered by the courts. This is not people who owed money after their 50 years were over. These are all people who owed money before that expiration. Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda. We have motion 2024-05 The motion to approve request and cost to modify the left green side bunker on Cardinal number 8, cost not to exceed $6,000. I'll make that motion. May I have a
I'll second it. I'll second that.
Director Nutting seconds the motion. I think I already explained it in the president's report. We're trying to correct some drainage issues, make the course more playable, and follow the recommendations that the golf course architect gave to us. It enhances the speed of play. It makes the course more playable. Those two sand traps both had a big lip that was approximately the height of the seat of the chair you're sitting on. So it's difficult to maintain, and the sand keeps washing away, and he's sloping them where the grass goes right back down to the bunker, which makes the course more playable and enhances maintenance and decreases maintenance cost. Anybody else have a comment? Stuart?
Only to back you up on what you're saying, those have been a nuisance for the various reasons that you said for a long time, and it's the one that's done looks great, and the other one will be just as good.
Anyone else?
I would just like to support what you were saying, too, about the larger the sand trap, the more maintenance cost there is. And if we can still have the fun of sand traps without them being so large that they're extremely expensive, it's a wise business move.
Thank you. Anyone else? The motion's been proposed and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. The motion's unanimous. It passes. The next item is POA members' comments on non-agenda items.
No one has signed up for that.
Okay. The next open board meeting will be Monday, March 18th, 2024, at 6 p.m. here in the Diamond Head City Council chambers. Thank you for coming or listening at home. We now have an executive session to talk about some